Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to the last episode of The Real Conspiracy Hippie. If you haven't seen my last episode, it's pretty cool. I talk a little bit about conspiracy theories. I have a good friend of mine on the show, Zach. If you haven't seen me posting all over social media, we're changing up the format of how I do things here a little bit. So I'm going to be changing it to my weekday episodes on Wednesday is going to be me and most of the time a guest, and we're going to be breaking down different conspiracy theories. This week we did Mandela Effect. It's very fun if you haven't seen it. Be sure to check it out. YouTube crashed on Wednesday. It was the NSA. They were censoring what I was doing for sure. We're actually in an NSA stronghold now. Cody's back. I came here to rescue him, but they caught me too. They are letting me film this podcast, though, as kind of a goodwill thing. And then my friend Tom's in the corner for moral support as well.
Sitting there laughing, chuckling.
Yeah, he's chuckling. That's it. But Cody's back on, so I'm sure you guys are excited. What up, Cody?
Thank you, guys. I'm sure if you're watching, you're more interested than half the people in my life are in myself, other than my girlfriend. She'll probably watch this, and she'll get 15 minutes in or 15 seconds in like I do pretty often with her, 15 seconds and out. But so I'm glad to be back. Tanner is an awesome host. He produces some great stuff.
Well, thank you. For me and all 54 of my subscribers, it means the world to me.
Well, I have 84 on a YouTube channel about reptiles, so it's okay. It's okay. We got
plug it.
Well, I'm Cody Jameson. I'm a libertarian American, a constitutionalist, historian. That's all self-proclaimed title. I went to college for 2 years, but I've done a majority of my own just information context from the interwebs. Pretty much everything I have to say tonight, the first half is going to be my opinion. The second half is everything I've sort of corroborated with Instagram. Gateway Pundit is a lot of my information, where it comes from. But other than that, just for disclaimer, this is my opinion. I don't need the NSA kicking my door in tomorrow. I did watch Snowden yesterday. Netflix, great movie.
With his hot girlfriend. Who is the girl who plays his girlfriend in that movie? Do you know?
I have no idea. She has a huge nose, but
she does. I love it.
Yeah.
As a also large nosed person.
Me too.
Oh God, yeah.
Blessed by my mother.
I talk about in the last episode.
I hope she doesn't watch it.
Yeah, my mom does it. They don't understand. They're like, well, how do we watch it? And it's on YouTube. I send them the link, and they're like, we tried to listen to it. It was hard. I'm like, okay, boomer.
I had to immediately tell my mother not to watch it, and then my grandma started asking. I said, Grandma, you don't even know what Instagram is, so we won't get into that. But
it's hard. It's hard for boomers. But Cody's back, guys. If you didn't see, we talked last Saturday, was it? We did an Instagram Live.
Saturday night.
We talked about the State of the Union, the world.
Had a total of, 109 viewers?
Actually, it was almost 200 last time I looked.
Wow, that's pretty good.
People consistently are viewing it. If you do watch it, there is an issue with the audio in the beginning. Probably skip about 10, 15 minutes in. It goes on for the full hour. Guys, we're going to get in some stuff here. Before I do that, like and subscribe, please. I keep saying this. I'm tired of working 9 to 5. I want to sell my shit house. I want to move to Florida. Okay, I want to be with my people. The white trash, toothless hillbillies on Miami
paying
Beach.
Taxes.
Yeah. I want to live in Palm Beach, really. So I need this. Please, I can't stress this enough. Subscribe to my channel, okay? Like I said earlier, we are changing the format. My weekday episodes are going to be a lot more about conspiracy theories. I'm going to have a lot more guests. The Saturday/weekend episodes will be political. So this is going to be basically how I'm going from here on out. If you guys don't like the format, if you like it, let me know. I don't give a shit either way, to be quite honest with you. This is how I'm going to probably do this. So Cody is on. He's a special guest. I'm probably not going to have too many guests on my Saturday episodes, but because he's so much more knowledgeable about a lot of the stuff than I am, and he's got a lot more hands-on information than I do, he's a good guest to bring on. So this is what we're going to get into. This episode is about voter fraud. Now, whether you believe it's real or not real, I don't know. Whatever you turn on, it's real or not real. If you turn on MSNBC, it's not real. If you turn on Fox News, it's also not real because they're a bunch of fucking bleed-hard liberals. If you turn on Newsmax, it's probably real. And if you ask your weird cousin Greg with his MAGA hat on Facebook if it's real, he'll tell you 30 QAnon stories. So you pick and choose what you want. Again, guys, I'm non-biased. Cody's pretty non-biased. I'm just going to give you information I see. and I'm going to clarify, Cody will clarify what are our opinions and what aren't opinions. So if you learn anything from this, I would appreciate some feedback. If you hate it, please don't tell me. I have a very, very small ego, and I can't be crushed. Yeah, guys,
us white men are sensitive.
I'm hurting.
We're sensitive.
It's what it is.
From the waist down, especially, but we won't.
Yeah, I'm a thick six.
That's a whole separate topic.
Well, so one thing I want to say before I let Cody take the stage here is you're going to hear two terms, voter fraud and voter irregularity. Guys, voter irregularity is different, and if you don't understand the difference, essentially what we're getting at is voter fraud would be hundreds of thousands of votes, system hacking of software, illegal ballots, things like that. Voter irregularity is what we're seeing countrywide. Now, this isn't a regular election. This isn't a regular year for us. This is one of the weirdest things. We've had more mail-in ballots this year than I think the last 3 elections combined. We had more early voting this year. We had more early voting than I think we had in both terms of Obama, which is crazy. This is new, and this is new for us. We did see voter turnouts like in Wisconsin. Oh, that's unprofessional and embarrassing. It's tender hose.
It is.
Getting ready for No Nut November to be over, which I failed.
I've been nutting.
I failed 7 days, and I talk about this every episode. Next year, boys. But essentially what we're seeing with irregularities is like Wisconsin. They've never really seen a turnout over 70%, and this year they saw upwards of 90%. We're seeing Wade County, which is Detroit, we're seeing them with almost 100% turnout, and we saw even the Obama administration turnouts in Wade County that were less than 70% for, I think it was the second term for Obama. So this is just weird stuff we're seeing. So you're going to hear both these terms, and you've heard both of them on the news. And if you weren't exactly positive, that's kind of the breakdown. Voter fraud is mass fraud. Voter irregularities is just differences in the trend of votes. Cody, the stage is yours. Why don't you get on Benford's Law?
Yeah, that's a great point to pick up, Benford's Law. Many people have probably seen it projected throughout Instagram. These irregularities have been defied by Benford's Law. Well, what is Benford's Law? It basically takes different anomalies in different voting seasons. Like we have the general election of 2016. Benford's Law was applied. It's always applied. It's a way voting statistical analysis can actually break down how votes are coming in for one candidate versus another. It follows a horizontal line in which you have some input here, you have some input here, some votes are cast up here. That's your variation, and it breaks down variation. I took an algebra class and it was all about it, but that's why I'm not in college anymore. But it breaks down variation between how many candidates are supposed to receive this many votes here and how many are supposed to receive this many votes here in one ballot dump. And basically, the irregularities this year have defied Benford's Law tenfold. If you listen to these analysts that are basically saying, in 2016 we had a lot of weird stuff going on in like California. Their DMV proved through Benford's Law the amount of undocumented immigrants that were voting in California, in which you don't have voter ID, or you don't have an ID, and there's no voter ID laws you can vote. So Benford's Law came out about that. You didn't see shit about it because it was an article produced by their DMV, and who takes the DMV seriously. But so Benford's Law it's too dynamic for me to break down here. It's something you should look at because I'm not an analyst. I just look at these things and I think, okay, maybe they've been using this for 70 years. I think 70 or 80 years. It probably works. And we saw it in the Bush-Al Gore case, Bush v. Gore. It was brought to the Supreme Court, and it was discussed in the Supreme Court, which actually overruled Gore's favor in Florida and turned it to I almost said Trump. That's all we're thinking about anymore.
It's the same people.
Yeah,
Al Gore and Trump are one of the same.
Yeah, I mean,
in my general opinion, they're the same person.
Yeah, and I mean,
Al Gore's just sexier.
Yeah, Trump gets his legal advice from what's the weird Alan Dershowitz, the Epstein guy, and Gore got all his input from Michael Moore. So there's a little difference there, and if you know anything about Michael Moore, that man has nothing to do with anything in society except making movies about. I won't even go there.
Different episode.
But so Benford law helps defy irregularities, and there's a huge difference between irregularities and voter fraud, and I don't know if this is where you want to pick up on voter fraud, or do you want to keep breaking down irregularities?
Listen, we can talk irregularities all day. You're seeing them. I like I said with Wisconsin.
They saw them immediately in Wisconsin.
The big thing is it's easy to say it's irregular because it's an irregular election. If you're pro-Biden, you're probably going to just take that with, hey, that sounds about right.
We had a huge turnout. And that's so one thing I want to interject here is I don't know if we're seeing more turnout in these areas because so many people hate Trump or it is fraud or, we have these heavy mail-in ballots for Biden. They got a ballot dump 3 days ago, I think, in Georgia. And it was like 250,000 absentee ballots. I think it was the second day after the election. 250,000 mail-in and absentee ballots came in Georgia, and 1/5 went to Trump. And that's something that's defied in Benford's law. I mean, it's just the way it is. But is it possible that these lunatics are still sitting at home wearing their mask while they're scrubbing their asshole in the shower? Maybe. Maybe they're just too scared to actually go out and vote in person.
You don't shower with your mask on?
Should I?
I do. I shower with my mask on. I eat with my mask on. So what I do is I mush it all up in a NutriBullet and I funnel it under the mask.
That shows you how easy you are.
It's not bad. And we can sit and we can run irregularities.
I'm an anti-masker, I'll interject that. I think it's bad for your brain. But yeah, we can talk about irregularities. Continue.
We won't get too deep in it. You're seeing them. This is what you're seeing. If you're pro-Biden, you're probably taking them all with a grain of salt. Like, okay, people just hate Trump that much. If you're a diehard Trumpy or if you're a Proud Boy, you're probably taking these with full rage while you rant on Facebook, okay? So we're going to give you the breakdown of our opinions on what we're seeing with fraud/irregularities. We're going to give you the facts that we have available. For the love of God, turn off MSNBC,
please,
turn off Fox News,
please.
Turn off everything regarding this, whether it's conservative or Democratic. I can assure you it's not accurate. They're just saying what they want to say. They're trying to rein in the last couple months of a Trump era so they don't have to work anymore because most of these people haven't had to report on a real story in about 4 years, but about a year prior because Trump's campaign was a joke in itself. I mean, my God, it was horrible.
This year it was bad. 2016 it was bad.
2016 was a rough game, but I mean, for him, people liked it. But
he hit nearly every county in the country. I mean, if you look at that, that's why he won.
We can talk campaign policies on an episode. It'd be a great one to do because Trump's campaign policies were pretty legitimate. He did a good job,
for sure,
in 2016 on hitting these rural areas. He did things people hadn't thought about. But what I'm saying is do your own research on this. Don't take what we say here for law. Don't take what someone tells you. And I swear to God, if you're still getting information off TikTok, I will hunt you down.
If you're still on TikTok.
I will hunt you down and cradle you to sleep like the child you are. I can't stress this enough, guys. TikTok is fake. The information is fake. And I hate it. I hate it with a passion.
It's ran by China. It was developed by China. I mean, if China's going to be here in 3 years, we're gonna we're going to be living in the dome up in
Glendale,
Phoenix. It sounds pretty cool. We'll all be spoon feeding applesauce to each other every single day. But
it'll be cool. Well, I'm gonna let you run with your opinion on what you've seen on the news, what you're hearing on the news. What you've seen from your own research and what your just overall consensus is regarding voter fraud, irregularities, and what do you think Trump's stand and next move should be, and have at it.
Well, I'll break down from election night. I mean, many of you watching this probably felt the same way I did. I didn't fall asleep till like 2 a.m. I was anxious, and I guess I was 2 hours off of that big old cargo van that pulled into Wisconsin and Michigan and just started shoveling boxes of what is have you seen that song ballots or pallets full of ballots? It's just some hick fucker. So
that's democracy.
I fell asleep at like 2. Trump was leading. He had a huge lead. I think it was 14% lead in Pennsylvania we had a pretty decent lead in Wisconsin. Michigan, he was still up, in which he did pretty well in 2016 in both those states. He did pretty well in Wade County. So we wake up, Michigan's leaning blue, Wisconsin's leaning blue. I think at the end of that day, they called Wisconsin for Biden. They immediately called Arizona with still 1 million votes outstanding.
73% of votes, and we called it. Fox News called it. The first
Fox
one.
News called
the
it.
bleed hard liberals.
So we were kind of like, man, shit. The confidence is gone. If he can lose Arizona, he can easily lose some other diehard red states. And so, the day after election was weird. And then you started getting weird reports, like what happened in Georgia, the water main that broke.
Yeah, they had to relocate a lot of voters.
Yeah.
People that were working
polling
the polls.
Stations, yeah.
And they didn't tell anybody. They didn't tell poll workers, or they didn't tell poll watchers. So poll watchers showed up and no one was in the main room at the stadium.
There's no order for a contract for that fix. There's no recorded order by that county to actually go and seal off that fix. So it's like they needed an hour to stop, or a couple hours to stop the counting, and this is where Dominion comes in. We have reports in Pennsylvania of observers saying that IT guys were allowed past the lines of the observers. They could go back with their IT equipment and start bringing in these different USB devices, uploading whatever they're doing. We had, the day before the election, we had a huge software update in Dominion. I won't break down Dominion quite yet. But just weird stuff like that. I mean, Pennsylvania, they're letting some IT guy, he probably went to a 4-year school somewhere in Pennsylvania, and
he's a guy with a safety vest and a laptop.
Yeah,
you bring a tough book, a Panasonic tough book, and a VIS vest, you'll get anywhere you want.
Yeah, and he's probably got the whole Marxist Bible in his pocket. He probably was just.
That's all I get into Disneyland. I show my Marxist Bible, my VIS safety vest,
and you're showing me around that Epstein flight.
They always say, "Sir, you've been banned since 2013 for what happened on the log ride."
Yeah,
and I tell them it wasn't my fault. The child jumped. And they said, you pinned him down. You held him underwater. And I said, no, I didn't. Okay?
You're going to have to get a PR guy for that.
Yeah, it's bad. Don't look up 2013 child drowns on the Disneyland log ride.
It wasn't Tanner.
It was Martha McSally.
That's why she lost. Okay,
it was.
It wasn't the abundance of text. But,
listen, the 400 text messages. How bad, I'm sorry to cut you off here, but man, Mark Kelly, I have seen this man with my own eyes post Gabby Gifford's incident with 2 chicks on his arm. All right, yeah. I grew up in Tucson. Cody's lived in Tucson. You've seen Mark Kelly. He's stolen millions from this city, and he refuses to give it back. And people knew this, and they're like, well, Martha McSally texts me 400 times like the crazy bitch she is, so I'm voting Mark Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that easy.
I mean he won the election by not texting people.
Right.
Have you ever, his campaign was shut the fuck up.
And apparently my phone number is registered to some woman named Martha, and apparently I'm a Democrat in the state. But I mean, the dude's got balls. He's calling up Thailand. He's saying send the youngest, most mature Asian broads you can find. Get them in here. It's a stunt. I need it done. And he won. I mean, state's blue now. I guess.
Spaceman go durr.
Apparently, one of our friends is pretty compliant with
Listen,
that.
If you voted for Mark Kelly, that's fine. I get it. Martha McSally's a hot train wreck, but you're an idiot in your own right. Also, if you voted for Martha McSally like I did, you're also an idiot. So you played in.
You didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But
we got burned. We got burned hard.
Yeah, we
got
did.
Dumb Douchey and Astronaut Boy.
Astronaut Boy. I know so many good accomplishments like John McCain.
We got, Kirsten Sinema, though. God, it was the butt pic. She always posted those yoga pants pics. And that's how she's won.
Yeah, she's got a chest. She looks good in a tight blouse. But, yeah, I mean, we won't get into cinema. But, so where were we? We were breaking down Dominion.
You're on your opinion about it.
So, yeah, we started seeing more shit flow in. Constant just, fraud here, fraud there. CNN's kicking in the door and saying, what do you mean fraud? That's not fraud. And slowly their arguments have gone from no fraud to, well, there's some fraud, but we don't think it's substantial enough to overrule this election. So, okay, what's their next talking point going to be?
Yeah.
And every day it's something new. They're starting to just collapse from within. Their whole plan is just falling apart, and that's just my opinion. I think the media itself needs to just self-destruct. For me, it's kind of like professional sports. I'd love to see it just self-destruct.
Yeah, hold on. Football's all I have left in this world.
You guys are football guys.
Please,
I could give
if baseball wants to implode, fine. So
once Tiger Woods got out of the NFL or whatever, I just stopped watching it. But so the fraud just kept coming in. What is even the day? Is it the 12th, the 13th? It's the 13th. It's Friday the 13th. It's a good day.
God, my mortgage is due already.
We are 10 days post-election. We're still getting nonstop fraud. I think it was 2 days after the election, we saw Project Veritas came out with his first whistleblower.
Is that how you pronounce that?
Project Veritas.
It's not Veritas.
Maybe it is.
I don't know.
Maybe
I'm asking.
It is.
I thought it was like a spicy bean brand. Veritas.
That's pretty good. I think from if you live in Tucson, it's Veritas. If you live in Phoenix, it might be Veritas. I don't know.
I would say, and I keep cutting you off. I apologize.
No,
they are spearheading this actually. And I think they were the first to really dig into the Arizona situation. Yeah. To be honest, I'm going to shut the fuck about Arizona. I don't know anymore.
I don't think any of
Sharpies
us know.
work, they don't work. I don't know. I don't care.
Our Attorney General went from, Sharpie Gate to, Sharpie Gate's not a thing overnight. But, so, my opinion, nonstop fraud is coming in. 2016, we saw endless amounts of fraud. This year, it's almost like they set up the mail-in ballots so they could create this confusion, and they could create this idea that more people are staying home, and that's why we're going to have this high turnout, because they don't have to go to the polls. They don't have to show any interest other than filling out a piece of paper and sending it in, and that's their political stance. But you start to see, I'm going to have to find it specifically, but there was, let's see, is it here? No, just the weird irregularities with all these mail-in ballots going so heavy for Joe Biden. Just it's odd.
That's the most concerning for a lot of people, is that overnight we saw a curve just... I do this every episode, guys. This is the wave of JB. It's strange.
And that itself defies Benford law. This is something that the chairman of the election committee uses. This is what these people use. I mean, the developer of Acon, is that how you pronounce it? Acon.
That's how I would say it.
Acon.
Acon, young Jesus.
That's nice.
You like that?
You should start singing.
Acon should make music again. Acon got screwed because some dumb chick said, I'm a minor and I'm going to sneak into a club. She probably had no parents, like the trash bag family they are. And she ruined his career, and he didn't help himself because he cheated on his wife. But
I thought
essentially,
he beat some chick in an elevator.
No, that was Kareem Hunt. No, that was Ray Rice. I'm sorry, Kareem Hunt kicked a chick.
The golfer.
I can't keep up. No, Ray Rice is not a golfer. Ray Rice he played for the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, yeah.
He was a very athletic human being, but I'm not going to agree with what he did.
Huge hands, huge fists, great stature.
No, but Akon got burned because some 16-year-old snuck into a club. They hooked up, and she was a minor, and he is like, I didn't know. Like, she was at a 21 and up club. We were making out in the club, and her parents come busting in the door like, that's our 16-year-old daughter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's fun. That's what happened to Akon's career.
Poor guy.
It was karma probably for cheating on his wife, but it's weird. You gotta check IDs.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be like COVID. We should start just printing minors on their arms when they we kick
X's
them out
on their hands.
Yeah, something just to be safe.
Bruises cover their arm.
Men are volatile now. Men are very volatile.
Yeah,
we won't get into
You don't like my 303 reference?
Lots of soy. No, I didn't.
But bruises. They're coming back. 303's coming back, baby. All right, you keep running with your.
So, back to my opinion. Again, opinion. We're gonna see this pushed in our face. We're gonna see COVID. They're gonna push COVID. They already started a couple days ago. Mass amounts of tests coming in, and you got Elon Musk. Is that? I'll stop asking how you pronounce shit. I'm just saying.
Just do it. Run with it.
He's saying he got tested twice or 4 times. 2 times came back. We're at the point in the world where we are a world superpower for testing COVID. We test everything. We test our animals. We test everything, and that's, we're just pushing these numbers out the door. But we're gonna start seeing COVID in our face. I mean, the news is just gonna push this to a point, and it's it's a double-edged blade here. They're gonna be pushing it in our face to sort of normalize Joe Biden's agenda for mandated masks. You walk outside, in which I'll get into that. Or, well, I guess we should probably save that for
we can save it. We won't run this one super late.
They're gonna start pushing it so they can normalize Joe Biden's agenda, and then they're also going to try to cover, as they did, when it first came out, Russiagate was all being unfolded. So, all we saw was COVID, and they're going to be covering this fraud with COVID. They started days ago, and I mean, it's scary to see that, but
and I couldn't agree more. And
it's to the point where whatever you see on the mainstream media is probably the opposite of what you should truly believe. I mean, it's disgusting, the shit that they push. It's like the weird goth in fucking 2001 that everyone was like, whoa, why does he have 6 chains on his pants? But now he's like a billionaire.
But he could dance.
You
seen those boys dance in the alleys?
Yeah, getting super crazy. That's pretty good.
That was a good one, huh?
Pretty good. But yeah, my opinion, endless amounts of fraud. They set this up for months and months and months. They had 4 years to perfect their whole system. So Dominion is something big. I don't know if you have anything to sort of put in there, but
listen, I'll jump a little on my opinion with this. I talk about it second podcast, a couple podcasts ago, how I think Trump should just retreat to the islands at this point with all of his millions. I can assure you this, they are pushing COVID down our throats. If you turn on ABC, if you turn on MSNBC, if you turn on any major news corporation, they are shoving it down. Well, they're saying right now we have more hospitalized people than we've ever had, which I find really hard to believe accurate, because I'm hearing from people that work in hospitals. A good friend of mine I follow on Instagram, he actually did in the very beginning, he would go to hospitals and doctors would actually follow him to the parking lot and say, no, hey, there's no one here. Yeah. Which it breaks HIPAA, it breaks all of their, like, they were literally like, you can't show my face. And like,
if there were the amount of people that they say were in the hospitals, I think we'd be like $40 trillion in debt.
Yeah.
Because hospitals are just getting endless amounts of federal funding.
I'm not downplaying COVID. I'm not saying it's a real virus. I'm just saying what Cody's saying is accurate. They're already shoving it down our throats, and here's my opinion on this. I'm going to be brief because we'll keep this rolling. I have a few things I want to get into as well. With COVID, they're going to use it to cover up whatever they want, whether it be fraud, no fraud, Trump not conceding. I don't know. I don't care what they're going to use it for, but it's always been a good cover-up. It's easy. It gets people's attention. As soon as you see it comes in big red letters, breaking news, and they've got Dr. Fauci, and he's getting pegged by his wife on the screen, and he's like, wear your masks. So this is where we're at with it. Right now, I think we've seen small evidence of fraud. I know they found like about 180 votes in Arizona, nothing crazy. With Pennsylvania, what's been kind of sketchy is they, kind of boarded up windows. They weren't letting poll watchers in. So there's been evidence of potential fraud. Cody and I are going to dig a little bit more into facts here in a minute. And my general opinion, I believe there's a overwhelming amount of irregularities, too many voter irregularities. There's too much of a turnout in states. There was I think the age group between 70 to 80 was like the most they've ever been in an election, which is super crazy. In my general opinion, that's just not right. Especially during, most old people I talk to about politics are like, I'm dying, I don't care. Like, I hear that consistently, or they're diehard conservatives. John Kennedy. Yeah, they're diehard conservatives, or they're baby boomers caught in the freaking good old days when they went to Woodstock and gangbanged each other over half a joint.
They don't care. They have years. They're on their way out.
Exactly. So that's what I'm seeing. Before we get into actual facts here, Project Warp Speed is something you're going to hear a lot about as well. Trump did a press conference from the Rose Garden today. He talked about Project Warp Speed. He's got great faith in the military. I have great faith in the military to get this out. Pfizer is an interesting corporation because they've really battled Trump for a long time.
They wouldn't release it prior to election.
Correct. So, well, as you know, Trump has fought the FDA on paying full price for this stuff.
Right.
They use our country, they use our technology, and they use us like test subjects, and they want to charge us the same and sometimes more than foreign countries. They're like, well, America makes more money, so they can pay more. And Trump has battled them for years saying, listen, that's not right. You're using our technology, our resources, our people. You're doing this under our regulations, and we're getting a discount. And so Pfizer really has had a hard time with Trump for a long time. I know originally he talked about Johnson & Johnson wanting to do a lot of this because they're a company he's had a lot more success with in the past.
Just willing to work. Just willing to work.
Not that Pfizer's not willing to work. It's just it seems a little funny to me that they are just now announcing, and Trump's been saying they've had a vaccine. There's a vaccine coming, and it's finally the day after Joe Biden is announced the president-elect. He gives a speech. The next morning we wake up and Pfizer said we have a vaccine.
Yeah.
And there was no other news. The news we're hearing about it is from Trump. It was from at the Rose Garden today. You can look up stuff on the vaccine of Pfizer. You'll find stuff. But as far as breaking news comes, it's coming from the president of the United States currently. The one thing I've seen on this is Como, who's a giant piece of shit. I talked about it on one of mine. I want to do a full stadium rules 5-minute 5-round Muay Thai match with Como. I would love to fight him more than anything in the world. I think that he is a traitor to this country. I think that he is the farthest thing from a patriot, and it sickens me. I don't care about his political standings. I don't care about his beliefs. But what's alarming to me, and maybe I might eat my words on this, I will say, if he comes back, because he's not letting the vaccine into New York. He said this. He doesn't agree with it. He doesn't trust the vaccine. I don't know what medical school Como went to. The school of I bought my degree online for $40 is my general opinion. But
it's that cheap?
Hey, who knows? I don't know. Como has been regarded a hero under all this, and New York is like one of the worst shithole states through this. People that live there are talking about how scary New York is right now. It's a ghost town.
Oh, it's a ghost town. I mean,
maybe I eat my words. Maybe we all take this vaccine and get violently ill, and New York is all that's left in this country. Which, if that's the case, we're going downhill.
Yeah, I mean,
hard.
The sad thing about Como is just his willingness to beat Trump over Trump's inability to handle the virus.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and the way it comes down to in public safety is that comes down to the state. Public safety is handled by a state. It's not handled by federal government. The federal government handles funds that help relieve states when they're at points of, state of emergency within New York, which was proclaimed like 4 days after they said COVID was in the country.
Well, New York was our hotspot. They've consistently been a hotspot. A good comedian I like, he talks about how when you go to New York, they ask for your phone number and they text you, and it's like, okay, please quarantine for 14 days.
Yeah.
This is trash. Yeah. So if you like Como and I offended you, I don't really care that much. I'm sorry.
Just don't.
I think he presents himself well. I think he's a true politician. I think he's done some things in the past that have made him recognizable as someone who could have been a very big leader in this.
One thing about his past, I think it was 2014 or 2015 when the Obama administration was surveying states as far as emergency response. And Como was given the opportunity to revamp their ventilator supply, their mask supply, their PPE supply, and he denied it. I mean, they had storage. They had massive storage warehouses that were just empty. They had 14,000 ventilators on hand.
And he did butt a little bit of heads with Obama. Como did, yeah. Como and Obama didn't. It wasn't super public. It wasn't talked about, but on some policies they didn't really agree. Which again, Obama was one of the best left leaders in my opinion. I didn't like everything Obama did, but as far as a Democrat, he
had a nice voice.
He did, and he looked cool.
Voice.
He made us look cool.
Yeah,
he was the black JFK.
Yeah, truly. I mean,
actually, he was the black Reagan.
Yeah, I mean, granted, he took less guns than Reagan, but
that's true. Whatever. He was well liked. Okay.
Yeah, very well liked. But he also lost, I think, 3 million voters. It was either 3 or 5. He lost a substantial amount of voters from the 2008 election to the 2012. He lost voters, and like what we're seeing now, Trump's gaining 10 million.
Yeah.
10 million.
Well, and that's another thing too. all right, I'll wrap this segment up and we'll jump into the facts here because I'm just rambling like crazy. But yeah, it's just more irregularities, and even on the conservative side, it's the most votes we've ever seen, which is a little weird on my opinion as well. It just seems strange because, I mean, yeah, I do know a lot of people that voted Trump. I know a lot of conservatives that voted Trump. I know a lot of people who weren't going to vote Trump that ended up voting Trump, and people who came to like Trump.
Great spot to interject Dominion.
Go for it. Just have that. Have the floor. Take over.
Both sides have the ability for cheating. They have the ability for absentee voting. You don't get an extra absentee vote if you're a Democrat versus whether you're a Republican. If you claim absentee status, you get a ballot, and you can claim it for your dead mother who's still on record lives at your house. So I think the right had just an easy chance of creating this voter fraud as the left did. But the thing is, the left controlled Dominion. Dominion is a Canadian software company that invented these machines using hammer and scorecard technology that's funded out of the CIA. CIA Mossad shit from the 80s. They used it in Mexico.
It's used in Serbia, right? It's a lot of Serbian technology as well. Yeah,
it's Serbian technology. And I can't remember the man's name. He was CIA that initially used it. But they've used it to change the outcomes of many different elections, and it just takes tallies from there's so much information online, and I think if you're listening to this and you're interested in this, you should look it up yourself, because literally their instruction manual states that it is possible to change input on one setting and change the output on another setting. And that's kind of what we see here. I mean, all week, Rudy Giuliani and Trump have been tweeting the fact that, I had X amount of votes changed from Trump to Biden overnight. And that's something they can do, and that's something these IT guys can come in, and they can take this data, they can pull it from the machines, they can take it home to a software system and re-coordinate the algorithm and change these votes. It's literally in their instructions online. You can look it up. I don't have the link, but I was reading.
I'll post the link. I'll put the link on this YouTube video. It's in the description. I know where it is.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's a software company based out of Canada that uses Chinese technology. The machines are made in China. The motherboards, the data systems. I don't know shit about technology. I don't know how these things work. I can barely run a Mac. But
yeah, same.
So that is something extremely scary to me. And then I can't remember what it was I was reading earlier. Something about the U.S. military. See if I can find it here.
Well, I do remember.
Did you hear about that today, though?
Yeah, I did hear a little bit, and I didn't look into as much as I should. However, I'll bring it back while you look for that. I did see a video where they actually showed like young kids hacking Dominion software and how easy it was. Now, what they're trying to claim is that the Dominion software we use for voting is an upgraded, enhanced version. They have people monitoring the software. They have people managing. That's why they have these IT guys walking to the back of voting polls to make sure the software hasn't been tampered. But the fact that we know it can be tampered should alarm you. And that should alarm you for anything. It shouldn't just be because you're a Trumpy or you're a left guy. It should be
the
scary.
Integrity of our election. I mean, if this doesn't come out now, our elections are done.
Well, in Florida and South Dakota, and I'm not going to brag too much about South Dakota because there's like 13 people that live there. But like South Dakota has an open poll watch. So actually, not only do poll watchers from the left and the right go, the entire public can go and stand and watch people pick. That's an honor to do it there. Florida, the way they handled their voting was insane. Yeah. I mean, Florida is a state that could swallow Arizona whole. And they had it like that. They were ready to go. Right. Like my sassy snap. Yeah, so there's a lot of states that have it right, and the states that have Dominion software tend to be there. That's what we're harboring on. Swing states, large city,
they all have
pro-liberal counties are the ones using this software. That's why people are outraged by it.
We've already seen one county flip because of that 6,000 vote software glitch. That was the first breaking headline on Dominion. Yeah, the software glitch. It was a glitch, and 6,000 votes were overturned, and a GOP candidate took a House seat. I mean, just that easy. This software glitch can overturn that in one county. I mean, it's how easy is it for every other county? But what was I looking into here?
The military stuff they released.
The military.
This morning.
So I was trying to find that, and I saw a report of the U.S. The FBI seized. I'm not sure if it's in Germany. They have Dominion software, and I'm not sure if they were counting our tally in Germany actually, or this is just a subsidy of American Dominion or Canadian Dominion. But the FBI actually seized. They got an extradition order to seize this technology in Germany. That's incredible. I mean, what that how big is that? If
such a trip, man.
What European country is willing to let the Americas come in and take their software? I mean, that's granted we have the NSA, we're already in all their software, but seize their entire software. I don't know much about it. I'd like to get more about it.
Well, we can live and intervene as well. I mean, the information we're trying to provide is what's out there currently. I think all of this is going to be, it's all going to be done within the shadows on both ends.
Absolutely.
I love so now they're forcing Biden to do these press conferences. He's picking his staff. What they're doing, in my general opinion, again, it's my opinion, not a fact, I think they're trying to take away from the fact that the left is fighting this as well. The left does have some scare. Like, they want to make the general public think, Trump and the right-wingers are crazy. This is fine. There's no big deal. We don't even have to worry about fighting this. But I think with putting Biden up on a platform, they wheel his corpse out there, and he goes,
stick him with some amphetamine.
Yeah, and they got Hunter up there, and he's all sober
or
and
double.
shitty now.
It could be a body double.
It could be a body double. We've seen Kamala Harris body doubles.
I saw that.
Laura Luma in Florida was the one who called her out,
Mm-hmm.
which I love Laura Luma. She's super cool. She's batshit crazy, and she's funny. I like that about her. She's insane.
She's a weirdo,
in the right way. But so I believe currently what the plan is the left has prepared stuff. I think they've seen some things that alarmed them too, and they're like, hey, this is something we may have to defend, whether it's something that may or may not be illegal or may or may not have been intentional. If something comes up and Rudy Giuliani digs into this, Trump's legal team digs into it, and they pull something out of this, if they have something, they pull it up, and the left has to defend it, they're going to have to acknowledge it. I think they're prepared as well, but they want to let the general public know that Biden's more concerned about shutting this country down in late January than he is about the election.
They're already conveying that right now.
They've made it very clear.
It's very clear.
For those of you who haven't seen that, or you keep saying, it won't happen, well, it will. They've made it very clear. And Biden said this in the election. He said that he believed in it. I think a lot of people are pro because they think they can go back home, they can do nothing. Everybody I talked to, most people were making more money on unemployment than they were.
I mean, it would be nice. But.
And not all. There was a lot of people who took a lot of hard hits, but a lot of people I talked to about the COVID quarantine loved it. They're like, I'm making more money now. I'm sitting on the couch. And I think people are kind of excited for a second lockdown.
They can sit home. They can sit at home.
I get it. I work from home now too. I love
Call of Duty. They're probably even more prompted to now.
But people aren't scared about a second lockdown. And I'm watching, Cafe Poca Cosa here in Tucson actually was a business, not my immediate family, but of people that are in the family. They owned, and they weren't doing well before this, but they closed doors. Which they're the longest. They're the only restaurant to ever be on that spot on 4th Avenue. Was Cafe Poca Cosa. Nothing's ever been in that building. They were there from the beginning. And we're seeing this worldwide, countrywide, these businesses shutting down. And this, a lockdown a year after the beginning, almost a year after, this isn't cool. This isn't like something we're just going to sit here and get money for. This isn't something we're going to sit here and get, more unemployment than we were making, or almost as much. This is not something to be taken lightly, in my opinion. This is alarming.
The people that are okay with it, though, are probably, they're a year, 2 years, 3 years out of college. They got their bachelor's degree in gender studies or something. They have $250,000 worth of student loan debt. They have purple hair, and they sit on their couch and they watch anime and shit.
I know, and don't get me wrong. In some ways, I liked the beginning of the lockdown as well. I was like, this is kind of nice. You get some time. Yeah. But you have, in the very beginning in March, it was always in the back of my head that this will be over soon.
Right.
It'll be over as soon as it came. But now we're pushing 7-8 months
2 weeks
later,
to flatten the curve.
And we're nowhere near, and we're talking about going worse. We're already seeing in the UK where they're locking down whole quadrants for weeks at a time.
Greece just super interesting. The government in Greece just put out a mandate where if you leave your house there's a specific number that you have to text stating you're leaving your house. I mean, that's just like so 1984. Yeah.
The alarming thing was Como's bitch ass in New York. He's like limiting Thanksgiving gatherings and shit like that. Dude, oh my God. And he's going to be in the Hamptons with 500 broads, and he doesn't care, dude.
No masks.
Hey, I'm a Como.
Yeah.
That's not how he talks. I like to imagine he's like a heavy-set Italian guy, because he's not. He's like a short, weird, shaved leg looking guy.
Touching uncle sort of deal.
He's so creepy looking.
Yeah,
I hate Como so much. It's obvious. I say it in my voice. He's not all bad, but God, he's made this so much worse.
Hasn't done good things. I mean,
he hasn't. I hate how he's revered, and he's like writing a book about how he's handled COVID, and meanwhile his state is burning to the ground.
Yeah.
Seriously, talk to anybody who's been in New York.
GDP
nice areas
destroyed.
Are turning into a post-apocalyptic war zone. But I'm ranting per usual. We're bad about that.
Probably need to get on with this here.
You got any hammer and score? Any stuff more on that you want to talk about?
It's sketchy.
You drilled the point in there.
I brought the point along. It's sketchy. There's nothing. If you hear anything about a glitch, that's just not true. This is software designed literally to change tallies of votes. I mean, there's nothing good about this. Why we have this instituted in the first place? There was an NBC, I think it was in 2014 or 15, about hammer and scorecard, or not. The idea of it, the Dominion system, exactly. They covered basically totally contradicting what they're saying today about how it's compromising our elections, how it just destroys the integrity of what we can believe in, because it takes data, something out of our control as voters. We want our votes to count. Takes the data and just totally mixes it up in favor of one candidate versus another. And I would suggest do your own research on it. I don't know everything about it. That's just stuff I've looked into. I didn't even hear the name Dominion until 3 or 4 days ago. I'm sure most people haven't.
And if you've heard it, you've heard it on completely different terms. It's been a government tool. It's been a government tool for a long time.
Hammer and scorecard.
It's not necessarily something... I think my biggest issue with Dominion is that it's used... it's not used everywhere. It's like these places, and back to the South Dakota situation, I understand it's 48 people that live in the whole state, but these places that have a voting system set up, they don't have any issues with it. They don't have any complaints. There's no like people standing around a courthouse like, hey, we voted. I mean, when we all woke up the day after, like 3 or 4 people in our group were like, oh yeah, our votes didn't count. And they had to call, and it was like, oh, there was discrepancy because of the signature, this and that, and those things happen, understandably. But yeah, it just seems weird. It seems like Dominion's been used in every key battleground state.
Arizona, it wasn't even verified. In Arizona, our elections committee board didn't even verify it.
Fantastic.
So I mean,
I'm proud to be here.
Yeah, Katie Hobbs, I think is. I can't remember what she is exactly, but she's like the top advisor for our election committee next to the attorney general. And if you can't validate a voting system, why use it?
She's Secretary of State.
She is
Secretary of State. Thanks, young Jamie.
Thank you.
I got my tech Tom. Guy now. It's my tech bitch.
We bring him everywhere.
I'm gonna do dirty things.
He goes home
later.
with me.
Oh yeah.
He goes home. Yeah. Tom is we pass.
He's a
him around.
patriot. He's a fucking patriot.
Yeah, he's a cop kid.
Here we go.
We won't go there.
That's really kind of where I'm at. We talked, and we're going to briefly grab this. Pennsylvania, again, that was the first things we started hearing. Poll watchers and the Supreme Court actually told Pennsylvania that they violated the law.
They did
not let poll watchers do their job. That is alarming. It's not about, oh, well, maybe it was a mistake. That is hands down okay, think of it this way, right? So you let your girlfriend go through your phone. Okay, it's November, you're feeling safe, you haven't been on anything sketchy, okay? But she can only see your phone from the front yard and you're inside the house. She's cool with that, right? That's the same concept we should be seeing. They had poll watchers standing outside of windows like this, and in the middle of the night, they were boarding up those windows.
Up cardboard and
they're like, well, we didn't want the general public to walk by and see what we're doing. Okay, if that was the case, why weren't they boarded up in the rip?
Why can't they do that?
Why didn't you board them in the very beginning? Right. I understand if you don't want the general public walking by and seeing people counting ballots. I completely understand that. But don't do that at 2 a.m. then get a ballot dumped 2 hours later.
Right.
That's just what I'm saying.
It's just weird.
In my general opinion, I believe there's some fraud. I believe that there's some irregularities. I believe that it could be coming a little bit from even both sides. Well, we're primarily targeting the left. There could be fraud on the right side as well. Who knows? I'm almost positive if Joe Biden's smart and his administration's smart, they're having their legal team dig into this just as much as Trump is.
They've been funding a legal team just as long as Trump has.
They just don't talk about it. That's the thing, is that Trump,
Right.
and I think my biggest pet peeve when I talk about this is he moves in silence, but he likes to talk loud. He goes on Twitter all day. Oh God, I got some good tweets.
What is it? Talk softly and carry a big stick.
A big dick.
A big
Stick.
dick. Trump, big dick.
Stick. Yes, that's right. The worst thing you can do is bet against Donald Trump, considering what has been done against him. They flooded the zone with mail-in ballots. We need every vote counted, and ferociously. Sean Hannity said that, and then Trump just copied exactly what he said and posted it on his Twitter.
My point on Trump, and this is just my philosophy, you can train a zebra, but you can never take the stripes off a zebra. The man is who he is.
He's the most successful con artist we've ever seen.
And you can't change him. You can't change him. That's why he won.
700,000 ballots were not allowed to be viewed in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, which means based on our great Constitution, we win the state of Pennsylvania. And then Twitter goes to say, this is official sources call this differently. But so that's the thing.
Official.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about Twitter censorship. If you guys saw my video about my Kanye West thing where I found all the votes for Kanye West, Instagram actually took that down. I had to get that appealed because they said it was promoting false voter fraud. It was a fucking joke. So that's, just throw that away. If you see it on any Twitter, Instagram feed, don't look at it right now because who knows anymore. I maybe will come back out and say this is pretty accurate. But the thing I'm trying to drill across is that if Trump's legal team wanted to, while they're investigating this, it's their right. I understand it's their right. But the last thing we need is people on Facebook on an all-out fake civil war. Yeah. We don't need Trump tweeting every 30 minutes on 30 minutes. Like, move in silence. I want
to believe he has basis behind his claims. And I think...
You'd want to think he's confident.
He is.
But he did sound a little weary in the Rose Garden. He even said today, whether it's my administration or the next administration, that was kind of like... and he looked down.
That's not Trump.
He looked down.
But then again, he's been playing golf for the last 8 days straight.
Banging Melania.
18 holes.
Donald Trump Jr. watches.
But as far as Pennsylvania, I think the Trump team has a great case. They brought litigation immediately. The hardest part about this is getting the Supreme Court to actually take a court case. In which this is big, and I think they will take this. But they take 1% of every brought forward court case in a year. 1%. They receive 80,000. I sound like Joe Biden. 80,000
more deaths.
80,000 cases
80,000
every year. They take 1%. So, but I think this is substantial. As far as Pennsylvania, I believe it's Article 4, Section 1 of the Constitution states that a state legislature is to change voting rules, not a state courtship. And that's what happened in Pennsylvania. I think 3 months before the election, they changed some different terms in their state's constitution, and that's not how the law works. Their legislature is to change that, and I think the Supreme Court will see that, because that in and of itself defies the Constitution.
Well, you got to remember, the Supreme Court are people. And people hold grudges.
Right.
And Clarence Thomas is, if you don't know who that is, look him up. Joe Biden
called him the N-word or something.
Well, nah.
It wasn't that far.
It wasn't that bad. I've seen a lot of dark things about what happened. And I'll give you my brief synopsis, but look it up, read it. Joe Biden was in charge back with the governor of Utah at the time. That was when they did the Crime Act. And then after that, he was handling Supreme Court initiation. So Clarence Thomas came in to be initiated. He did his, I don't know what's it called, interview, I guess. And Joe Biden said, I don't like you, I'm not going to vote for you, blah, blah. Well, he ends up getting in. Well, at the time of Clarence Thomas getting into the Supreme Court, there was sexual assault allegations with him and a woman named Anita Hill. Now, Joe Biden said on record that in order to speed up the court process, her claims held no validity. I hope that's the right word for that. It might not be the right word at all, but they held no valuable and proof information, and the FBI deemed it to be a false case. So we didn't even bother with it. They didn't bring it up, okay? Which I don't necessarily agree with, but whatever. Joe Biden said what he said. Now, fast forward to Joe Biden during the election, everything comes back to haunt you in this world, I can assure you. They talk about Joe Biden and they're like, hey, you didn't agree with Anita Hill on this and you don't agree with sexual assault survivors. And he comes back and he's like, I absolutely agree and what I did was wrong and we should have taken her word and blah, blah, blah. Well, at this point in time, as far as the case is, I don't know what happened. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. This is just the fact of the case. It's been denied. It's been proved fraudulent. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know, and that's not something I'll ever know because I wasn't, I don't have any legality or access to that. This is what the FBI's internal investigation has said on this. So years later, the FBI clears Clarence Thomas's name, rightfully or wrongfully, I don't know. Make up your own opinion on that. Research this, and then Joe Biden comes out and says like, yeah, he did it. Yeah, he did it. So if you're Clarence Thomas, you're going to be pissed. This dude pissed you off in the beginning. And for your entire career has pissed you off. And now he pissed you off one last time for no reason. So that's my thing with the Supreme Court.
And
look into that situation. Joe Biden's been in politics a long time. He's made a lot of enemies. He's also made a lot of friends, a lot of good connections.
China's pretty good.
China come. No, but he does have a lot of people. He is picking his staff. He's picking his cabinet right now. I urge you to, if you're very pro-Biden.
They're a bunch of warmongers.
Just read into these people and make your own opinions on them. I don't care what your opinion is. I got my opinions, and you guys maybe care. I don't know. I don't give a shit if you do or don't. And you shouldn't care about your own opinions. So do what you want with this information. Cody, we talked a little bit about the Constitution. Do you have anything else you want to bring in about the Constitution on potential voter fraud?
Yeah, so, Trump has 3 ways to win. Well, I should say more like 2. There's 3 different outcomes. The first is he concedes. And Hillary Clinton told Joe Biden a few months ago, never concede. You don't concede, you don't lose. And that's just the way it is. And concession is not something, it's not in the Constitution. It's basically a basis to tell your support, we've lost. We're done. I give up. It was great, but past this point, there's no more reason to fight. And Trump doesn't have to concede. He can take this. I'm pretty confident that the Supreme Court is going to hear out these different, different clauses with these states defying the Constitution. I think that'll become apparent. I think some of these states will be overruled. Because if you defy the Constitution, you defy our courts,
right?
And then
that
sets
defy
a
what
precedent.
This country's built on.
That sets a precedent from this point on that it can happen in every election. It can happen at any point. But so I think the Supreme Court is going to hear him out. And so from that point, it's going to, if he doesn't concede, the first Monday of a December after a general election is where it gets taken to the House. And in the House, each state gets 1 delegated vote. And right now, I'm pretty sure I think 37 states are red.
It's a good chunk of them.
I think 26 of those 37 states that are red will actually vote in Trump. I've kind of done a little bit of math, but it's going to be 26 to 22. The delegated votes will go to Trump. Trump wins. That's how once it hits the House, basically the entire election becomes null and void at that point. You need to build a case.
It's based on like you're saying, it's based on the House, but it's a general vote.
Yes,
every vote that we did, our voice, our opinion goes straight in the garbage.
Doesn't matter past that point because it had to be taken. It's if the Supreme Court rules that there is some sort of discrepancy in this election, and in any other election, when you have House delegates, they all should ineptly vote for the candidate that won. Like 2016, it was obvious Trump won. The delegates went to Trump. Not all of them, but a pretty vast majority. It was inevitable. He won. This year, it's going to be pretty disputed, but I cannot see it being overturned in any way other than Trump's favor at that point. Just because
if it gets to that point.
If it gets to that point.
If the legal team finds as much fraud as they're claiming they have,
right.
Then yes, I could see that happening. Now, I think I talked about it in one of my podcasts where I say I don't see them finding enough fraud to overturn anything. However, I do think Trump will take this time, win or lose, to maybe he just goes and plays golf, but he can he's got some time.
Yeah, for sure.
He can do what he wants in this little bit of time.
And I think he's been preparing.
I think so too.
I think he's had lawyers set up.
Well, I think every administration's been preparing. I think Biden administration knew this would happen.
Yeah, they do.
Most politicians are 10 to 15 steps ahead, except for Hillary Clinton. She's 45 steps ahead. So that, oh gosh, if I go missing.
Oh God, yeah, we should probably shut this off.
No, but so that's the situation. I see where you're coming from.
I think it's going to be taken to that point. Trump's not going to concede. Trump will not.
He won't. I don't believe he will either. And whether it's his arrogance, he truly believes it. I don't know. You never really know because he doesn't show that human side of him. Other than today at the Rose Garden, that was the most human I've ever seen him be, which alarmed me because it was kind of like. And again, I'm not super Trumpy, but I'm right leaning. I'm just not super Trumpy. It was just weird to see him in that kind of light to talk about. I don't know. Go watch it. It was your own opinion. It was weird. It's the weird and even
emotional side. He was not stoic. He was not stoic this afternoon.
Great, and we're doing great, and this and Trump. Like
Trump
and
stoic don't go in the same sentence. But.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was weird. It's the weirdest I've ever seen him. And I've talked, and I don't see it getting to that level unless they find a massive amount of fraud. And me and you have presented the facts as we've seen, and basically the facts that we're saying is it comes down to Dominion software. Was it hacked? If it was hacked, what happened? And how much of it was hacked?
And we don't need recounts. We need audits.
Right.
We need full audits.
That's the thing too.
The only way to overcome this fraud.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to match signatures, and the thing is, these poll workers, I'm sure,
they're beat to hell.
It's all discarded. It's all thrown out. It's going to be really hard to get full audits. But I think if what Trump says about this Dominion, I think if these numbers, they say there's 229,000 votes that were switched in Pennsylvania. If these numbers are true, if they can prove these numbers are true, the Supreme Court is going to take immediate interest. Yeah. I mean, they're interested now.
But. And so, what's the dude with glasses on CNN? What's his name?
Wolf Blitzer?
No, he does. He's like the shorter guy with gray hair. He does like the late night.
Wolf Blitzer? That sounds.
I don't remember. There's so many of them. Yeah. The governor of South Dakota, which I love her, she was on, and they were like, "Oh, there's zero proof." He's like, "I talked to people in Arizona. There's no proof of voter fraud." And she's like, "Well, listen. Whether there is or isn't for me to say, but there's hundreds of signed affidavits of people saying they've seen this. Now, in my opinion, this is the least credible information, but it's something. It's something to acknowledge.
In court, you risk perjuring yourself.
Oh, you go to jail.
Perjuring
right.
Perjury is a felony. Right. If people, I mean, you don't have to care who wins which candidate wins, but if you're willing to sign an affidavit in court, you must have some sort of viable truth to that.
You're either getting paid more money than you've ever seen, or you feel it. And I think they came out and said, like, the first guy already redacted his statement. He didn't.
No, he didn't.
He talked about, I shared it on my Instagram page.
He came back out hours after that CIA or FBI interrogation on Project Veritas and literally stated Veritas. Literally stated that it was an interrogation. Project Veritas put that up.
Well, they have parts of it that they recorded. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not trying to confuse you, but I have to try to confuse you.
It was entrapment. Is what it was. It's like literally a Michael Flynn case.
I don't know what those consist of. To be honest, I don't know. I have no clue what that would consist of, but it seemed brutal. I mean, he was just going.
I mean, and he's a little he was a Marine, I think, but he's just
some UPS guy.
Dorky,
but he's a patriot. And if it comes out that he was lying the whole time, then I'll hate him as much as I hate Cody.
I will too.
At the end of the day, the only thing, and we'll wrap this up here shortly, but the only thing I give a shit about is making sure the integrity of our democracy is at stake. If Joe Biden wins, Joe Biden wins. If Trump wins, Trump wins.
I will accept either.
I don't care.
If it's fair, either way, I will accept either.
I could care less, to be quite honest. But what I do care about is making sure that we have an effective voting system. And what we're seeing, and this is somewhat factual because it is out there, Dominion is saying these things. It's a little bit of our opinion, but we're seeing high potential for voter fraud. Based on Benford's law, we're seeing too much voter irregularity. So what me and Cody are trying to drive across here, and again, some of this was fact when we talk about Dominion, and a lot of it's opinion, is that there is high potential for this to change.
Absolutely.
And if you turn on the news, you'll hear this. You'll hear this from Newsmax, what we're talking about. You'll hear this from Fox. You'll hear something opposite on this. You'll hear something opposite on MSNBC. Everywhere you look, it's going to be very different. So I can only urge you to do your own research. If you like what we said, cool. If you hate it, cool. I mean, that's fine. The whole point of this is for me to throw out my opinion.
Like and subscribe either way.
Yeah, please subscribe. I can't do it anymore.
We got to get this guy out of Arizona.
Yeah, God, I got to go to Florida. I'm going to Panama. If any of my viewers come from... Looking at my analytics, most people that watch me on the West Coast, there's like 2 people in like somewhere in the Midwest, Nebraska, I think.
Really? You're getting out there.
I don't know who. Someone's cousin lives in Nebraska. They're like, check this lunatic out.
Crazy guy. Super crazy guy.
Yeah, but I'm going to wrap it up with that on my opinion. I just want to leave that. Please do your own digging. Don't do this on Google. DuckDuckGo will be what you want to get on.
DuckDuckGo is great. Stop using Google. One thing I want to say before closing
out.
Look up your state legislature and call them. Call them, leave them voicemails. They're probably not going to pick up the phone. Tell them they're not getting your vote unless they look into this audit, because they rely on us as the taxpayers. Without us, they have no jobs. Without our support, they have no jobs. Call them, request an audit. We need it to save the integrity of our whole election system. I mean, it's essential. Past this point, if we don't uncover this and it slips under the rug, all the indictments that should be brought forward from, the FISA scandals, the FISA abuse, the Hillary's whole Benghazi, the email, that's all going to get swept under the rug. I pray to God Trump is going to bring that out in his second term. But if you got to call these people, you got to make it apparent. Do it now, do it tomorrow, do it next week. Just do it. Yeah. It's essential.
This is our democracy, and this is our voices. This is our country. And no matter what your voice is, you should want to know that it's heard. And you should care if there's high potential for voter fraud on either side, high potential for voter regularity, too many voter regularities. You should care. Even if your side is the one that benefited from it, if there is. I'm not saying that there is right now, but I'm saying if it comes back out and it's like, oh, Joe Biden had 800,000 votes in Pennsylvania that we uncovered, and you're like, it's not patriotic of you. Because I can tell you right now, if the tables were turned, and I've already talked to a lot of Trump people about this, they would be very upset. I mean, I would condemn Trump probably for the rest of my life if I found out that he did this.
Absolutely.
And I've talked to a lot of
Joe Jorgensen did it.
I respect it.
I mean,
that's a way to win. That's a way to win.
Libertarians.
I've talked to a lot of left supporters too who said the exact same thing. They're like, yeah, if we find out Joe Biden did do all this fraud, I would never support him. And that's what's cool. It's cool to see people being so patriotic because, again, like Cody said, these people work for us. This is our country. We are the backbone of this country. These people don't have to. They shouldn't, and they can't necessarily get away with whatever they want. So, just buckle up for the ride.
Do what you can. Be a patriot. Interject your voice. Speak out. Don't be violent.
And don't do it on Facebook. Don't get aggressive. Don't be on Facebook. Don't spew hate speech. It's all we're all one and the same.
We're all Americans. Joe Biden said that a lot. We're all Americans.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want anything to add? We're pushing a high time frame here.
Tom's falling asleep in the corner. We should probably
yeah. Hey, go get your ball gag, bitch.
Alright, where is it?
It's in the bathroom. Well, that's pretty much what I got. Sum it all up, guys. Just hang on. Buckle up for the ride. Because at this point,
it's going to get crazy.
It doesn't matter what we're seeing. It doesn't matter what's on the news. What matters is the outcome. So you can argue with who you want. You can show whatever you want. You can post whatever you want. But do your own research and make your own opinion, and we'll all find out together. I mean, we're literally all like the wise words of High School Musical. Okay, we're all in this together. Okay, that's what I got, guys. If your clothing style looks like shit, I'm on fleek, as you can see, always. But if you're tired of looking like shit, and one day when the pandemic's over, you want to go out and get a girlfriend, because I'm assuming most people that watch this are probably incels. No offense, fan base. Check out Trip House Clothing, okay? Cool ass shirts, locally made here in Arizona. They have cool clothing. They do other stuff besides shirts as well, jackets. I think they've got some sweaters and stuff on there. I'll plug them in my Instagram post, but it's called Trip House Clothing Ltd. Cool stuff. I like it. I have some of it myself. It's pretty neat. So, yeah. Stop looking like shit, you fucking bums.
Stop looking like shit.
Y'all wankas. I am doing audio only. So this will be the first episode to come out. It'll be on Spotify. It'll be on Apple Music or Apple Podcast. It's different if it's not music.
I just realized
it'll be on
today,
Apple.
Yeah, I
the
just
Apple
figured out
people.
there was a podcast app today.
Yeah, it'll be on there. It'll be on Anchor.com, and they'll always be on YouTube in a video format as well. But a few people have told me, hey, I really want audio only because you're so grotesque. It makes me sick to my stomach to look at your dirty fucking face. So I said, oh, okay, understandable. I'll do audio only.
We're ugly, man.
Yeah, I get it. It's fine.
We're ugly, man.
But yeah, this is the new format, guys, rolling forward. Wednesday episodes are going to be a lot more fun, a lot more upbeat. If any of you guys ever want on the show, I only have like 6 friends, and I'm going to run out pretty quick here. So if you want to do conspiracies with me, feel free to come hang out in my garage. It's super weird, and we can have a great time together. Those will always be my funnier episodes, a little bit more lighthearted. This is what we're going to be going through. Next Saturday, we're going to be breaking down. I probably won't have Cody on, but I will be going through the Hunter Biden laptop stuff. Very fun, very silly.
He's got some really cool stuff.
He's a party animal.
He's a party animal.
Yeah.
Hitting that.
Yeah, no, and I'm not trying to hate on Hunter Biden because he's got like this huge fan base now because of whatever reason. But this stuff this is public information. It's out there. And a lot of people said, "Hey, I don't want to compile this. It's like a lot of effort to compile it." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I'll compile it. Talk about it." That's what I've got. Oh, also, I ordered stickers. So if you subscribe to me on YouTube, tell me and send me a screenshot of you subscribing or showing that you're subscribed on YouTube. Send me your address and I will mail you stickers. First 100 people get a special sticker along with my logo sticker. Everybody after that just gets the regular sticker. So I'll post what the regular sticker looks like.
Don't be regular.
Yeah, don't be a basic bitch. Put it on your hydro flask. Put it on your dildos. I don't care what you do, but tell somebody about me. I can't work a 9 to 5. I can't stress this enough. I talk about it every episode. Okay? I want to move to Florida.
We need this dude monetized immediately.
Oh, God,
He's losing
please.
his mind here.
I'm funny in my own right.
He's funny.
You got anything you want to plug?
I was gonna plug in my my business, but I would say 100% of you guys don't own horses. I sell hay. 95% of my customers are at least 70, and the payments I get are from their Social Security with their deadbeat horses. But if you need hay, I sell alfalfa, I sell Bermuda, I sell tough grass. I'll deliver it. I'll smile. I might touch your butt. Look me up, SOAZ Hay Sales. Do not affiliate me with this podcast. This has nothing to do. My politics don't come into business. So
yeah, that's understandable. I say we wrap this up with a good Alex Jones battle cry. You got one in you? Wait, hold on. Tom, count us down. Give us a 5-second countdown.
Are we
right?
Are we gonna keep? Are we just gonna say what the fuck we have to say?
No, we're just gonna like a good Alex Jones battle cry. You ready?
Okay, on 1.
All right.
5.